What's up, everyone? CryptoSavy here. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum and see if we're going to correct from here or if we have higher to go. Also, I want to remind you, if you're not subscribed to the channel, definitely take a second out. Do that now. I do daily updates every single day to keep everyone informed on what I'm seeing in the market. Also, there's a free Discord group in the description below the video. There's a link to it. Definitely check it out. Awesome community, guys. Totally free. And let's get on with the video. All right, guys, as always, I want to remind you I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, trading advice, nor is it investment advice. There is a disclaimer scrolling on the bottom. Read it, and remember, this is my opinion, not yours. We're going to take a quick look at the news headlines just to get a feel for the sentiment. $400 drop, Bitcoin faces correction after rejection at the price. Great day for Ethereum, Bitcoin loses dominance. Analysis, this highly bullish signal suggests Bitcoin is about to blow up. Bitcoin and crypto bulls must prepare to face regulatory something. Bitcoin price hits 5-month high above 10,350. Not anymore. Updated. Bitcoin finds a new floor. Bitcoin is up and volatility is down, making it highly investable. So kind of bullish news. Let's look at the fear and greed index. We are at 65 on greed. We are up 4 points from yesterday. We were at 61. And Bitfinex, BitMEX, and Binance, total longs versus short. There is 66.92% longs, 33.08% shorts. Binance has more shorts than longs now. But longs on BitMEX and Bitfinex are still higher than the shorts. So let's look at what's going on. If you guys watched the channel, we had been watching this, and I had put this up here last month. If we closed the monthly above 9,200, we would be in good shape, which we have. This is still holding as support, but keep in mind, we've been talking about it. We still have all month to go. We're not even halfway through, or we're close to halfway through. But if we were to come down this month and retest the top of this falling channel that we broke out of, it would be around the 800 or 8,550 range. And if we were to fall down and touch it, retest it next month, would be around the $8,000 range. Let's keep that in mind. I know everybody's getting really super bullish here. Where, you know, there is a super bullish analysis, and then there's some bearish ones, but the bearish ones are bullish also. And we're going to take a look at that. Right now, I have this symmetrical triangle drawn in here, and I've drawn it off of these two wicks up here and all these touches down below here. And what I believe we may be looking at is a triangle here that will eventually break up. But I don't think that's going to happen until after the halving. I could be wrong. The highest I see us going is to come up and test this trend line. And depending on when we come up, if we were to do it this week, it would be around the 11,350 range. If we were to do it next week, it would be around the 11,250 range. And the following week would be around the 11,200, 11,150, somewhere in that range. And that would be around March 20th. And also, what I want to point out, if you haven't watched the channel, this is pretty interesting. I'll do it real quick. If we put the fib retracement from this swing high at our all-time high down to our 3,200 bottom in 2018, as you can see, this run-up we had last year went right to the golden retracement zone, golden pocket zone, in between the 0.65 and 0.618. And if we bring this down and do a retracement off of this high and our low this year, which I do believe was the bottom, as you can see, that golden pocket zone is going to be right around somewhere in between 11,300 and 11,100 area, and that would also retest the top of this trend line. The very bullish case scenario is that we break that line from there, and then I will definitely be entering longs there. Otherwise, my plan is to enter shorts right at the touch of this trend line with stop losses just above it. And if you guys are interested in trading, I'll leave a Bybit tutorial up top. Also, I have a Bybit and a Prime XBT link down below. Both of them have promo codes to get you if you make a deposit, they put some extra money in there for you. Bybit is like $90. Also, the Prime XBT has a CryptoSavy promo code, get you 35% on top of whatever you deposit. They will put on there as a bonus. And if you use CryptoSavy 25 promo code, you get 25% off all your fees. But be careful, guys. Trading on leverage is very dangerous. Don't use super high leverage and don't play with more than you're willing to lose. All right, so I do believe if we do get the rejection here that we're most likely going to come down and retest the $77,000 to $8,000 range. Possibly could go a little bit lower depending on when we come down here. And I'll show you those targets in a little bit. But as you can see, there's no real breakout volume on the weekly here. We are still declining in volume. As of right now, we are playing along this 50% retracement here on this whole move here. So right now, it is, like I said, in a very critical area. And if we look at the weekly, or the daily, I'm sorry. You know what? Let's go back to the weekly real quick. I do want to show you the RSI and show you in the longer term. This is the weekly RSI. Back in 2015, we capitulated back down below this support and resistance line that I have in red here. Broke back above it, came back down, tested as support, and we had the bull run all the way to 2017. Then we had the bear market, capitulated under it again, broke back above it in 2019, came back, tested it again, and we were going up from there. Keep these lines drawn in your RSI, guys. I do believe we'll most likely get a rejection once we touch this to come back for one more touch before liftoff. Again, this is just my opinion, not yours. So let's look at the daily. On the daily, as you can see, we had this channel drawn here, which we had broken out of. But again, there was no real breakout volume. As you can see, volume is just still declining. So it's nothing too bullish, I don't believe, yet. But as you can see, we are getting support on this 0.5 in the daily. My next target's going to be up here around the 11,000. If we can break this 10,530 range where we have been getting rejected, if we break that, that invalidates my thoughts that this may be an inverse head and shoulders, and we're going to take a look at that also in just a second. But as you can see, the EMAs are super bullish. We are getting support on the 8 EMA here. If I zoom in, you guys can see that. I do have this down here. I want everyone to keep in mind, this is the 0.786 retracement of this whole move from last year, which I don't think is likely, but it is a possibility that we come down to that 5,400. Again, I do not think that's likely at all, but you got to keep all possibilities when you're looking at the charts. So anyways, yeah, that's that 0.65, 0.618, which is a golden retracement zone. So that could be an area we're looking at. We'll get into a little more detail in a second. I do want to take a look at the RSI. And as you can see, we had this falling channel that we were watching, broke out of it here, came back down, tested for support. And the white, you can see a rising channel. And if we look at it, we did break through a little bit, which looked like to be a bear trap, came back down. But we are in this rising blue channel now. If we break here, guys, we're most likely headed down to retest the top of that falling channel. And that is most likely going to be right around the 92 to 92.50 range, somewhere in that area, which would be the top of this channel. But let's go into the 4 hour. This is where it gets interesting. If we have topped out here, guys, these are my targets for coming down for a retracement. I'll explain it. Let me get the RSI out of our way real quick. As you guys know, this bottom line I've drawn off of these resistance points at the bottom, cloned it, put one on this peak, one on this peak, one on this peak. And as you can see, all those lines acted as support and resistance all the way up here. And as of now, they are support. But this is the target that we've had for a while now, this 10.8. I do think it's still possible we hit there, and I got that target looking at this as a flagpole, this being a bull flag, this rising broadening wedge here, or just broadening wedge. That gets us up to the 10.8. That will break this 10.5 that I have looking at this inverse head and shoulders right here that we're going to talk about in a second. But will this hold? That's the question here. And that's why I said we're in a very critical area. We could be done here and could come down from here. It's a damn good possibility, guys. And that would start to look like that inverse head and shoulders would be validated. But again, if we look at this as a rising channel here, we could come back down, get a bounce off of this area here, which is going to be around the 9,900 to 9,950, maybe even 10,000. That would be the 55 EMA. Maybe come back up, get to our 10.8, and then come back down. And the measured move off of the fall of that, depending on where we fell, could come back down and retest this trend line around 93, somewhere in there. But that's why I do daily updates, guys, to keep us updated on exactly what's going on. So anyway, if this is done and we do not get above this neckline here, we would be looking at the next stop's probably 95.50, which would be looking at this broadening wedge I have drawn in here in the dotted lines. That would be retesting down here. Next would be 8,900, which would be the 0.382 retracement. That would also line up with this top trend line. The next would be the 84.63, which would line up with the middle trend line and the 0.5 fib. Then we have the, I think this would be over here. Then we have the $7,900, $8,000 range, which is a 0.618. And then 0.786 would be the 0.34. Now, what I believe, if that's what we're getting here, guys, there's 5 waves in here that I've been counting, and I'll show you that real quick. I hate to make these videos long, but I don't like to leave stuff out. I like to get my whole point across. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If this is finished, like I said, we could have another leg up to that 10.8. And remember, the golden pocket zone is around that 10.1, so we could see that before by the end of the month, beginning of March. So keep that in mind. That may be when we get our actual correction if we don't get it now. But these 5 waves would be 1. And let me change the color of this one. And then we would have, these would make wave 1. And wave 2 would be most likely down to around this range, the 7,300, 8,000, maybe even 7,700, because we had a lot of resistance in there, support and resistance. So somewhere in this range, guys, maybe 8,000. But that would be the wave 2, and then 3 would be just huge. Damn it. Let me get this stuff off of here. But anyways, that's why I'm looking at it like that. So I am definitely looking for a retracement. If not now, after this 10.9 to 11.3 area, somewhere in there, depending on we hit. Remember, it's when we come back to hit this trend line here, I believe. We could front run it and not even touch it, but I still believe there's a good possibility we touch this trend line. Go back over here. But that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for a wave 2 to come down here if we're finished here. And there are the targets. I showed you the fib targets. Like I said, we'll do daily updates, keep up on all that. But I have this neckline drawn here, and that's exactly where we are at right now. And again, these same targets right in here. But keep an eye on this, guys. It is looking kind of possibly finished here. But if we break this, this invalidates this whole inverse head and shoulders theory. And then we are still looking at this theory here. So that's the 2 things I'm looking at. Obviously, nobody knows for sure, but this is going to be key. If we can break this 10.5, 5.30, that will invalidate this inverse head and shoulders. And then we can start looking at this as the possibility. So that's where I'm at with that. Let's move on to Litecoin. Litecoin on the daily. We hit our target. 84.23 is where I had it. Let's see where we hit. We went a little above that. 84.50-ish, so I was 20 cents off, whatever. We come back down, retest that 79 range. and we're getting support there as of right now. So I still have this target up at the $90 range. That could take, you know, another week to get up there. So, but if we're correcting from here, the same thing, just like in Bitcoin, we could be retracing anywhere from 73, 65 down to the 60. I would more look for the 60, 54, or even possibly the $46 area if we're done here and don't get up to that 94. If we get up to the 94, then the retracement totally changes. But I'm looking at this just like Bitcoin with a big wave 1, wave 2, and then 3. So even the bearish case is a bullish case in my opinion. One more thing that looks really bullish for Litecoin is the 200 EMA here is about to be crossed by the 55 EMA. That would be really bullish. But it's not to say we don't come down to retest right around that cross before continuing up. So keep that in mind. Let's look at the 4 hour, see if we can see anything else in there. Well, I have a wedge drawn in here. Actually, it's kind of messy right now. I had this old trend line here. Let me get that off of there. But yeah, looking at this as a possible wedge, same thing. We could, the measured move of the break of this wedge. If we come up a little more for one more touch, break down in this area somewhere, it's going to be around the $60 range for a retrace. But like I said, we'll keep updates. We'll keep watching it. I still think it's a good possibility. We could see 90. If we see 90, that'll be because Bitcoin broke the 10,550 range. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum, we had our target at 251.65, which we hit it, broke it, came back down, retested it. And I still have this target at 285, which is possible. Definitely possible. It all depends on what Bitcoin's going to do here. But if this move is done, here are the targets for Ethereum's correction. 216, 197. And I would be more looking at the 178 to 152 range. The 152 would be the 0.786 retracement of this wave and also coming to test this downward channel. The reason I have the 285 target up here is because looking at the yellow lines, top being resistance, bottom being support, falling broadening wedge, put it up to the breakout, and that's where I get that 285 range. So we may get up, tag that, and then start our correction, guys. Let's, if we don't start the correction from here. But either way, in everything, I think the correction's coming soon. Yeah, but that's about it, guys. Although I do want to point this out. The 55 has crossed the 200 in Ethereum, so that's pretty damn bullish. But like I said, we'll have to watch and see. You know, we could range in this area for a while, let the RSI cool, and then blast off more. But we'll keep an eye on it. Like I said, daily updates. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel to get daily updates every day. Don't forget to tick the notification bell and hit the all button to get notification whenever I post videos or do live streams. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'm out.